In 2005, rugby league entered a new age of sheer wonderment. Football, riding on the broad backs of these Tigers and Cowboys, suddenly became fun again as records and traditional clubs tumbled, new stars arriving the way of meteors. Now for the crowning glory, as the world's best players contest the Tri-Nations. Great Britain, New Zealand and reigning champions Australia, with Joey back in the number 7. Tonight, the 2005 Tri-Nations begins with Australia versus New Zealand from Telstra Stadium, Sydney. Test football, live on the home of big time sport, Channel 9.
With the success of last year's Tri-Nations, the competition is again on the International Rugby League calendar. And tonight, as we welcome you to Telstra Stadium, it is the reigning champions, the Australian Kangaroos, taking on the New Zealand Kiwis. Good evening. Thanks for joining us once again for our live coverage. The first of a 7-test series. It will culminate on November 26 in Leeds in the north of England. Tonight, I'm joined by a man who played Test football against the Kiwis back in 1998, Ben Eichen. Evening, mate.
G'day, Pete.
I guess we're in a situation we've been in so many times before. The Aussies, all the pressure on them. They're hot favourites, expected to win this one. New Zealand didn't win a game in this series last year. But what do we see tonight?
Well, you're right. There will be expectations on the Australian team, but I see some very good players, and I mean world's best type players in key positions for the Aussies. Darren Lockyer at 5'8", Andrew Johns at the halfback, and of course Danny Medeiros in the number 9 jersey. They'll go into this game wanting to do their best, for their country, but New Zealand, they've picked a very strong lineup, and I think it's going to be one hell of a game that will go right down to the wire tonight. As
we see the Australians in the dressing room, what about the lack of match practice for some players tonight? Only 4 players, and it's very rare, who were involved in the grand final. 3 of those in the New Zealand 17.
Well, that's right. I think it will kind of even out because, I mean, neither side has a great deal of match fitness. That'll come down to the coaches and how they prepare the side. Of course, Wayne Bennett, an experienced coach, a rookie coach in Brian McLennan, as we see the Australian team here.
With Anthony Minicello at fullback, Matt King makes his Test debut on one flank, Tamana Tahu on the other wing. Plenty of speed and skill in the centres with Mark Gasnier to partner the Brisbane centre, Brent Tate. The 5'8" and halfback, well, arguably the 2 best players in the world. Surprisingly, the first time they've played together as a Test halves setup. Darren Lockyer will captain the team from the 5'8" position, Andrew Johns at the base of the scrum. Blocking the scrum tonight after another wonderful season for Manly, Ben Kennedy. Luke O'Donnell, the second player in the Australian lineup to make his debut tonight. He will partner Craig Fitzgibbon in the second row. And up front, Petro Sivanasiva, Danny Medeiros at hooker and Steve Price. Their bench tonight, Craig Gower and Jason Riles, and a couple of back rowers in Andrew Ryan and Trent Waterhouse. Coached by Wayne Bennett, been in charge for 9 Test matches, 1-7, 1 draw, 1 loss. A good crowd in tonight, but this New Zealand side, well, they think they're capable of causing an upset, and it's not a bad squad.
Well, that's right. I think it's a great side. At fullback, we've got Brent Webb. On the wingers, we've got 2 debutants, Jake Webster and Manu Vatavai. They'll play their part tonight. In the centres for the Kiwis, we've got Paul Fatawira, the grand final hero for the West Tigers. Partnering him will be Clinton Torpy. In the halves, I think this is a strong halves combination. Nigel Wagner had some experience at the Cronulla Sharks this year in the number 6 jersey, and the little master back in the number 7 for New Zealand. He'll be doing his best to get his side home tonight. He'll be in the halfback spot. In the back row, Louis Anderson will lock the scrum. David Kidwell and Frank Pritchard from the Penrith Club will be in the back row. In the front row, I think this is one of their strengths. Paul Rahihi, the cowboy, the powerhouse from up north, will go into the front row with Lance O'Hire and the captain, Ruben Wiki. What a powerhouse. And on the bench, we've got another debutant in David Fayumu. He'll partner Roy Asatasi, who's also a fabulous player. Nathan Kalis, and David Solomona comes back from the UK to take his place on the pine. And of course, the coach for the New Zealand side is Brian McLennan.
First time he's been charged at Test level there. You can see the Kiwis acquainting themselves in the dressing room before they go out. Not ideal tonight. No Sonny Bill Williams, the likes of Benji Marshall out injured also. I guess it's an opportunity for some of these players to stamp their mark on Test football.
That's exactly right. There's a terrific opportunity for some young guys there, and I'm looking forward to see them take part in what should be a wonderful contest.
Okay. Good atmosphere at Telstra Stadium tonight. As we say, it's the start of a long series of Test matches. Plenty to play for. Let's get the thoughts
To Esterlo, when you were halfback, Wally Lewis 5'8". What's got you excited about tonight, Gus?
Yeah, two great players there with plenty of experience. I'm at the other end of the scale. A couple of kids living out a dream. Luke O'Donnell and Matt King playing their first ever game in the green and gold. How excited will they be? Now, Luke O'Donnell came from the south coast of New South Wales. Milton Ulladulla made his first grade debut with the Balmain Tigers. He's currently with the North Queensland Cowboys, and in 2005 represented City. He deserves his green and gold opportunity. He will give of his best tonight. Now, back in 2003, we were introduced to a fuzzy-haired, tall, gawky-looking kid on the wing called Matt King. He was with the Melbourne Storm. He played a bit of lower-grade football with North Sydney and the Cronulla Sharks, got to Melbourne, and all of a sudden exploded onto the scene. He's had 2 years in country origin. This year represented New South Wales for the first time, and he's in first ever series won the Brad Fittler Medal for the New South Wales Player of the Year. He's been tremendous, deserves his spot in the Australian side.
Well, I had a real good chat with the New Zealand coach tonight, Brian McLennan. He said you are going to be surprised at what you see tonight. We're ready to go. Do you give them a hope?
Look, I'm impressed with Brian McLennan. I spoke to him a couple of months ago. I've never seen anyone so passionate about his job. If that rubs off on the Kiwis, we're in for a game.
All right, stay with us. We've got the first of these 7 Tri-Nations matches you're going to see on Channel 9. The Kiwis in the dressing room, they're ready. Stay with us after the break. Ray Warren to call all the action. Game 1 of the Tri-Nations, Australia and New Zealand, live on Channel 9 from Telstra Stadium.
Worldwide Appliances are closed.
Of Celebrity Overhaul.
We have a show for you.
All the info that'll have you fighting fit and trim. At 7.
And back live in the dressing rooms of the Australians. Welcome to our live coverage of the opening match in the Gillette Tri-Nations for 2005. The Kiwis, across the Tasman they come to take on the Australians, where their record is not all that impressive, particularly here in Sydney. Australia have not lost a test match in Sydney since 1988, and they've not lost a test to New Zealand in Sydney since 1959. They've won 8 of their last 10 against the Kiwis. So, as is traditional with test match football, the sides walk onto the ground behind their respective captains. Ruben Wiki plays his 45th test match for New Zealand tonight. That'll put him 1 below the record holder Gary Freeman. And Darren Lockyer, of course, captain of Australia for the 10th time. He's lost only 1 test, Darren. Magnificent moment for Lockyer and Johns. They come together for the first time since 2002 in test football. Lockyer wore the 1 that day and Johns the 7. This is the first time they've played in 6 and 7. Stephen Price, one of 8 Warriors involved in the match tonight. Johns limbering up. Crowd is good. Twice he's been on a losing team in 18 matches. Phenomenal record. And as mentioned by Phil Gould earlier on, 2 players on debut. They'll be feeling good about it tonight as well, Matt King and Luke O'Donnell. So that's the scene as we stand by for the rendition of the national anthems of both countries. That's Matt King. He's had a meteoric rise from garbage man and bartender to the Australian League side. David Sanders is the man who's going to sing the New Zealand anthem, God Defend New Zealand.
The New Zealand anthem, performed by a graduate of the Talent Development Project. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for David Sanders.
May
Sanders with the anthem of New Zealand. And now for the national anthem of Australia, that is Felicity Urquhart.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil, wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia
That is Felicity Urquhart. So the formalities coming to an end. Both teams now ready, very much so, to get on with it. They meet again next Friday night in New Zealand before they both make the trek over to Great Britain for the Tri-Nations to be decided in the latter part of November. Standing by for the haka. New Zealand have been here on 2 occasions before. Both times they've lost test matches at Telstra. Vangana and Kalis on camera. There's been some shocks down through the years, of course. In Australia, Kiwi test matches, the most recent was New Zealand giving us a hiding in Auckland back in 2003, and then the mind goes back to 91. That is Steve Ganson from St Helens, Super League Referee of the Year last year in England.
Well, Ray, New Zealand's best success have been in the games at the end of the seasons. You're talking about that game in 2003. 30-16 victory, and last year, of course, the first in this series, a 16-all draw where they were probably the better side. Andrew Johns gets us underway.
Johns with a shallow start to the game, and the Kiwis already in for a mauling in the first tackle of the match, with Kennedy and Fitzgibbon leading the way. The big fellow that was wrestled down was David Kidwell. 30-metre line for the Kiwis, the first set of the game. And that is not a play the ball. Ganson, being an English referee, though, is prepared to let it go. Now Hohaya is tackled right in the middle of the ground, 30 metres away from their own line. And the carrier is their captain, Ruben Wiki. 8th time he's led the Kiwis onto the field tonight. And as I said earlier, 45 test caps tonight. Now Rahihi to the middle of the ground, in the middle of the signage for Gillette, the major sponsor of the Tri-Nations. Jones kicks, and that might have been a Falcon. Minicello eventually finished up with the ball, 15 out from his own line. Australia then with first touch of the ball, minus of course Johns kicking off. Johns was a dummy half on that occasion, and this is Brent Tate just beyond his own 20-metre line. Play towards the western side of the ground. Kennedy now, he takes it ahead, and they maul in with Kidwell and Wiki, and the lock forward Anderson, who the last time I saw him in a test match for the Kiwis was wearing the number 9. Sivanasiva missing a shoulder charge from Rahihi. Wiki eventually making the tackle together with the second rower from Penrith, Frank Pritchard. To the right of the ground they go now, the Australians. Looks like Luke O'Donnell, his first touch in Test football it was. One of 4 grand final players in the game. The kick by Johns, it wasn't all that flash, and then it almost became the best kick you've ever seen. Kiwis with the ball, and that is the Melburnian Jake Webster. Fadawira to the 40-metre line. Ohaya, talking of changes of position, normally has been a 7 or a 6 in matches we've televised as he works his play across to the right again for David Kidwell. Melbourne with strong representation, haven't they, tonight? As Jones feeds it across the line to his captain, who already has taken the ball ahead a few times and he's made several tackles, Ruben Wiki. Wonderful player. As the ball is dropped onto the left foot and it's a stabbing little kick by Webb. Down in the goal, good weight on it. Minicello not frightened to pass, finds King gets it back. Confidence at its highest. Gaznia now. 10 away from his own line. Anderson in the 13 jumper with the knee guard, involved in that tackle with Rahihi and Hohaya. 20 in from the eastern side as the Australian bench watch on. Waterhouse, Ryan, Gower, Riles. Now it's come from Fitzgibbon to Johns and he takes a battering. Lockyer took the ball, gave it away on the outside. Tahu goes down the sideline, puts the legs up and stays in the field of play, but it's a penalty going to Australia. I think he's found a second tackle unnecessary.
Yes, Paul Fadawira coming across there. And Anthony Minicello was screaming for the football on the inside. The New Zealand defence will need to watch that early in this game. Minicello so dangerous up the middle from the inside passes.
Price has gone right through. One of 8 warriors in the match tonight. Buderis on to Johns, now to Sivanasiva wide. And the big number 8 is taken down. 10 metres out from the Kiwis line. Buderis running across towards Price, throwing a dummy, taking the tackle. Made by Fadawira in the number 3 jumper. Price was a dummy half. Over it goes to Johns. Johns gets it away to Lockyer. Lockyer to Minicello in from the back. Gaznia throws the pass. King goes down the side. Floats the ball back in. Gaznia gets the ball off the ground. It's come back to Lockyer. He's able to push away from a would-be tackle. Runs into Jones and is put down. 9 metres out from the New Zealand line. Buderis now. Fitzgibbon. Now for John. Long ball. Kennedy. Off his left foot, off his right foot. Throws the pass, but there was no support there. And Fadawira comes up with the ball for the Kiwis. Kidwell getting it away to Wanguna. Nigel playing in the 5/8 position tonight. Kiwis have supplied numerous 6 and 7 combinations in recent times. And here they are with the ball 22 metres out from their own line. Jones, away it goes to Rahihi as we go to the sideline. Andrew Voss.
And fairly cool on the sideline tonight, Ray. 14 degrees for the middle of October. Interesting comparison in the goal-kicking stocks for these two teams. Stacey Jones, first-choice kicker for New Zealand. Not exactly jumping out of his skin about that being the first-choice kicker. And for Australia, they got the choice between Fitzgibbon and Johns. And just as it was in State of Origin this year, Fitzgibbon will be first-choice kicker.
Minicello brings the ball back from 25 out from his own line. He gets it out to the 40-metre line where Jones is the main tackler with Wiki up the top. Now the 11 is O'Donnell to the halfway line. Jones in the 7 for New Zealand. And Buderis cutting a little hole through New Zealand. Johns getting under a high shot. Now it's come away to Kennedy. Kennedy short ball. Minicello, good tackle. Good tackle, Webster. 35 out from the Kiwis line now for Brent Tate as he gets it on to Lockyer, then to Johns. Johns to Sivanasiva. Sivanasiva to Buderis, and he ran into the shoulder of Frank Pritchard. And a knock-on has been ordered by the English referee, Stephen Ganson.
Well, it's very obvious right from the start that Australia are looking to run this New Zealand side around. So many big forwards in their team. And when you've got half and 5/8 like Johns and Lockyer, it's very easy to get the ball from one side of the field to the other. And even though we're only gone 6 minutes in this game, you can see the Kiwis are stretched right across the park. Good ball movement from the Australians. That man there, Andrew Johns, a key figure.
Jones. Ball taking a long time to come out of the scrum. And this is a differential penalty. He's penalised the Australians for not being 5 metres behind the last line of forwards. And I thought for a moment he'd let it go, but he was obviously playing some kind of an advantage. But it was a correct ruling by the referee Ganson as Jones finds the line. And the Kiwis, they take it up inside the 40-metre line. Good, strong run by David Kidwell. He's been something of an enigma in rugby league, Kidwell. He's risen to much greater heights than I think most people forecast for him. Ohio, a dummy half for Wiki. Then to Jones, and away for a running Louis Anderson. 18 out from the line. Lockyer involved in the defence there with Badiris. They might test Lockyer out a little bit tonight. Here's Pritchard. And Pritchard is 5 metres off the Australian line. So are they going to be the first team to score? Ohio to Jones. Jones plays around him. Turns it in, and yes, they are. Yes, they are the first team to score. Trenton Torpey. 4-0 in favour of the black and whites.
One magnificent location, 2 thrilling days over 160.
Back live with Test football from Telstra and 4-0 in favour of New Zealand. There's the try scorer, Clinton Torpey.
From some Stacey Jones magic. He retired from Test football, and that was a huge blow to the New Zealand team. But he's back, taking over from Thomas Lulawai, and it is a different proposition up against Jones and Nigel Vunganar in the 7 and the 6. Clinton Torpey came a long way in field to get on the inside shoulder of this man, Stacey Jones. And they did well to keep the Australians out at the other end of the field. They've done a better job to get 6 points on the board early in this test.
It's a nicely constructed try by the Kiwis. They took the ball in 3 praise to the far side of the field. And when it comes back, what's the use of decoy runners here? Jones goes, everything looks as though it's happening on the right. Look at the lazy defence back on the inside for Australia. Jones looked outside, dummy, stepped back inside, found Torpey in support. Now he's the left centre. He knew exactly what Jones was looking to do, to open them up on the inside. Otherwise he wouldn't have been there.
Sort of a high kick-off. Sees Ruben Wiki running it back out to the 20-metre line, so he did well to get it back that far on the first tackle. This is Fadawira now. So Rahihi running it, Fitzgibbon and Badiris. 6-0 after almost 10 minutes of time. A little wake-up call for the Australians.
Now we've got Tamana Tahu leaving the field, replaced by Trent Waterhouse, so we'll see a reshuffle, and it's never a good sign when a player leaves the field and heads straight into the dressing room, as Tamana is doing.
So they go very quickly through the inside backs. They find a forward wide Anderson, then Pritchard, now Torpey again, off the left foot, for the line, puts it down, try number 2, Kiwis in again, Trenton Torpey.
Introducing the new fresh toasted chicken parmigiana sandwich from Subway restaurants. Tender chicken, zesty marinara sauce, delicioso. Subway, eat fresh.
We are back live at the Australian dressing room where Tamana Tahu received some attention. And it's probably hamstring. I think that's what put him out of business for a period this year. There's Torpey, the try scorer.
Man, if Australia were trying to stretch the New Zealand side, the Kiwis have answered back in style. Clinton Torpey, you talk about David Kidwell being a player that has gone to great heights. 3 seasons ago, Clinton Torpey was the best centre in the world. This year, struggled to maintain his position in the Warriors lineup. He's got the second tonight. Jones looking to make it a 12-0 lead, and it's snuck inside the upright.
12-0 in favour of New Zealand.
And with Tamana Tahu going to the bench, I can't quite understand this change in the Australian side. They've put Trent Waterhouse into the centres, and they've moved Brent Tate to the wing. Now, my thought would have been Craig Gower to 5'8", Darren Lockyer to fullback, and Minicello up into the back line. It was brilliant play there by the Kiwis. I don't understand this replacement from Wayne Bennett in the Australian side. A back rower's got to go on to replace a winger.
Wiki. Now Rahihi with the second tackle on this set. Rahihi under the tackle from Luke O'Donnell as Frank Pritchard drives it down the left side. Andrew.
Yeah, Trent Waterhouse wouldn't have played in the centre since his days as a teenager out at Penrith. Just on to Manatahu, history of calf and hamstring problems. His hamstring, Ray, actually hadn't caused him many problems this year. He did do it 3 times last year, but it's come back to haunt him with his very first touch of the ball tonight.
That is Hohaya on the halfway line. Now Jones, and he drops it down inside the 20-metre line. It bounces favourably for Minicello. Now it's away for King. King out to the 20-metre line. 12-0 in favour of the Kiwis. 2 converted tries, both scored by Clinton Torpey, both converted by Stacey Jones. If there was any lethargy or complacency, then that is long gone, I would imagine, both with the spectators and with the team. Played by O'Donnell now. And then Badiris gives it back to Fitzgibbon. They go back down the short side to the halfway line. Jones making the tackle over there with Torpey. Badiris away to Johns. Johns puts a kick in. King puts it on the foot. Then it came off a New Zealander, and it's gone back to Badiris. Badiris down the right side to the 10-metre line.
It's the last tackle rule that Brent Webb didn't play at the football, the referee.
So from King to Johns, hurries a kick. They're really putting pressure on Johns. The bounce. Waterhouse bats it back into the middle where it's knocked on by Vangana. Picked up by Tate. That should be play on. It is. And Tate goes back inside. Gets the ball away to Lockyer. And Lockyer is tackled by Wiki. Close to the line. Play back for Waterhouse to have a dig. Goes for the line. Lost ball. Lost ball over the line.
Well, I think there's a bit of justice there because I think that the pass leading to Darren Lockyer was a mile forward. Brent Webb has actually thrown his leg out there and saved the day. An awful effort from Nigel Vangana to try and regain the football leading up to that.
Well, it was such frantic play and the ball came to him so simple. I think he was looking for something more difficult.
Trent, stay in, Trent. Hold.
So New Zealand, again, this is quite purposeful what they're doing with the scrums. They're locking the ball in the scrum, and the first thing Stacey Jones says to the English referee is, look at them, they're up inside the 5 again.
Well, the Australians obviously aren't pushing in the scrum. They're holding their ground pretty comfortably, aren't they? Should get a message out there to push them right off the ball. That'll stop that nonsense.
This is Nigel Vangana under the green and gold defence of Australia. 12-0 in favour of New Zealand. And this man has been quite outstanding for them, their captain Ruben Wiki. 38 metres out from his own line, play back to Hohaya and then to Rahihi. Taken by Kennedy, got the ball away. Wiki was there, then it was Jones. Now it's picked up by Vangana. Good hands by Vangana. And he's pulled down right on the halfway line by Sivanasiva. Quick play the ball, Hohaya to Jones. Jones keeps it low. It bounces down 15 out from the line, bounces up for Minicello. A friendly bounce, and he comes back to be tackled by Hohaya and Kidwell. Well, they've really done some attractive things as Price has picked up and put down heavily. Good strong tackle by Vangana and Wiki. Tate outside the 30-metre line and out to the 40, in fact, before they're able to halt his progress. Louis Anderson making that tackle. Johns drifting across, finding Luke O'Donnell. The ball goes back to Badiris, then to Sivanasiva. He gets away, he goes down inside the 40, stepping like a centre three-quarter. Petro Sivanasiva eventually is stopped 25 metres out from the Kiwi line. Badiris for Johns. Minicello's lurking, it's gone to Lockyer. Lockyer to Kennedy. Kennedy, he sets himself to score, and he does. Is there a problem? Touch judge was saying something to the referee, and now they've gone to the man in the sky.
I think they're just looking at the grounding, Ray. The New Zealand defender raced out, and that created a hole on the inside.
Call Nigel Vangana.
He's lost it. And I think he's short of the line, Ben Kennedy.
I'm sure you're right.
Brent Webb around the legs again has done a great job to deny a green and gold jersey.
We'll need a look to see if he touches the line at first instance.
No, he's short.
You would have to say it's short, and he loses it. We've seen that a number of times this year, players trying to put the ball down backhanded when they're spinning around like that. That ball's down, but it's before the line. Now he's lost it, and it's another great save. The touch judge was 100% right over in this corner. He didn't run into the in goal. He's got a good vision of it there. You see the touchy right there. That's come down before the line. Great save, Brent Webb.
Video referee for the match is Chris Ward. Ian McIntosh, and I don't think there's any doubt he's come down short, and then the ball has come out from his control. That's the touch judge, who has done a fine job. I think everybody else was prepared to put up the correct weight flag, but he stood back in the field of play as if to say to his referee, you better talk to me, don't give it, talk to me. And by standing back on the field of play side of that dead ball corner post, he's saying there's a problem here, I think. So the decision is pending. No try scrum. That indicates that the ball was lost in the field of play, so it'll come back 20 in, 10 out.
And that's the kind of defence that can win your test matches. There's the rookie coach, Brian McLennan, first time he's been in charge, and the man we've just wrapped for helping the referee come up with the right decision.
Okay, look in, Trent, stay in.
I met that Brian McLennan about 3 months ago when he first got the job, and I've never seen a person so emotional and so passionate about getting an opportunity like this. And as I said before the game, if that rubbed off on the Kiwis, the Australians were in for a contest. It's obviously rubbed off.
This is Pritchard now. He's 25 metres out from his own line. 12-0 the score in favour of New Zealand. And that's the rookie coach they're talking about. Possibly thinking to himself for a fleeting moment, well, they told me this job would be difficult. I'm leading the Australians, the world champions, 12-0. Here's Kidwell. A couple of metres on the Australian side of halfway with Kennedy and Sivanasiva making the tackle as Webb. Oh, King is knocked on. He's put it straight down his throat, and he's knocked on the 20-metre line.
I don't know if it was straight down his throat. It was a little bit of a Yorker. Look at this. Gets him on a good length. He's had to lean forward for it. And gets a little bobble there, and that's enough to give the Kiwis another set of 6. A little bit of compassion from his centre partner there. It was low down, in between bat and pad. He dug it out, but he knocked it on.
Kiwis then winning the scrum. This is Webb, the man that put the kick in. He throws the dummy and scores another try. The Kiwis have scored 3 tries. They lead 16-0. Kick to come, and only 18 minutes gone. They're keeping up with the clock at the moment. One of the biggest outsiders in rugby league.
And what a night for Brent Webb. Denied Trent Waterhouse at the other end. Definitely was responsible for Ben Kennedy not scoring. And now you saw the Australian defender race up out of line. That was Trent Waterhouse. Andrew Voss has pointed out, hasn't played much centre football since his junior days. Well, he opened up the gap for Brent Webb. Too much pace for Andrew Johns. The centre, Waterhouse, he's already out of contention. You can see he's coming from the Kiwi side of the line. He's already raced Sean, his man. A yawning gap for the number 1 through the dummy. 3 tries. What a start for the Kiwis and for their new coach.
Well, there's 2 things about that, Peter. Number 1, what's Andrew Johns doing that wide in the back line from a scrum? He's a halfback. His job's to be at the scrum base. How would you like to have defended out that wide against the centres and scrums? Number 2, as we said, when Trent Waterhouse went out to defend in the centres, that was a terrible interchange. It was a terrible interchange. Minicello should be up playing on the wing. Tahu or Tate should still be in the centres, and Lockyer should be at fullback. That's a better backline structure. 18-0.
Jones converting for the 3rd time. And that was all Brent Webb. He stopped the try of Kennedy. He put the kick down the throat of King. He scores this try.
Look where Waterhouse is. Look what Waterhouse has done. That's a back rower playing out in the back line. Andrew Johns defending 3 wide on a fullback. He doesn't want to be out there. The man's 31 years of age. He wants to be over at the scrum base. Poor alignment.
Kiwis with Wiki playing the ball and Rahihi, his partner in crime, taking it out. almost to the 30-metre line. The tackler was Steve Price. Ohio driving up the middle, running into the midriff of Petro Sivanasiva. He was almost talking to his belly button. That's how small Ohio is in relation to Sivanasiva. Now with Louis Anderson, and now Paul Rahihi, bound for England to the halfway line. Ohio giving it back for the kick from Jones. Jones gets a kick into the corner. Nothing else. It's a good place to defend against the attacker, bringing him back. Minatello, they put him on the human wagon. Try to put him back in goal.
Yeah, great stuff there, Paul Fatawira off a grand final victory, leading the defensive charge there. And New Zealand now muscle up. A great kick from Jones, could have found touch. The better result was the Australians forcing it out from their own corner. They do so through Fitzgibbon onto O'Donnell.
Well, it's a real test now, isn't it? They've got to dig in here, Australia.
Johns, driving kick. Driving kick. I thought it might take a left-hand turn for a 40-20. But carrying it back is Webster. Jason Riles in 15. Webb. This is Vadavai.
He's a potential superstar, Ray, this Manu Vadavai. Very, very good player. Well, he's the youngest man out there for New Zealand, but I think the first of many tests for the man on the far wing.
What do they call him? Little Jonah. When he, I think, made the junior Kiwis some years ago. Little Jonah. To the halfway line then. And Webb that was, who gave it back to Vangana. 35 metres away from the line. Tackled by Steve Price, and then Ohio puts the little kick in over the head delicately, but precisely. The head of King.
Well, I hate to harp on this, Ray, but I think Australia have got to make some positional changes. They've got to get Minicello up onto the wing or into the centres. They've got to get Lockyer to fullback. They've got to get Gower out there. Waterhouse is out of place out there in the centres. It's not his fault. Coach has told him to go there, but it's a mismatch at the moment. They're 18-0 down. They need Gower, Johns and Lockyer all on the field at the same time with Badiris. They want some double-pronged stuff out of dummy half and a bit of ball movement. At the moment, they just look 6s and 7s.
Waterhouse then, out to the 20-metre line as Sivanasiva is replaced by Riles. So the big fella will be keen to get the ball in his hands. Fitzgibbon. Riles looking for the ball. It's with Kennedy now. 35 metres away from his own line. 18 points to 0, 3 converted tries to New Zealand. Riles away from one and getting the ball out to the halfway line. New Zealand also using the interchange bench, and Nathan Kalis is out there in 16. 15 is out there as well, Roy Asatasi from Canterbury. The kick from Lockyer, knocked down. I thought it was played out by Webb. This should be an Australian feed.
Well, a freakish piece of work there from Matt King to get the football somehow back into the arms of Darren Lockyer for the second kick. Watch this pass. The flick to the desired man, Brent Webb, deliberately playing at the football. And Australia able to maintain the pressure here through a second consecutive set inside the opposition 30 now.
Lockyer. Minicello up from the back. And he's tackled just inside the Kiwis 20-metre line. Waterhouse a dummy half. Price on the run. And he's pulled down close to the line. Now Minicello. Minicello looking to unload, but takes it to ground. Tackled by Ohio eventually. And Asatasi. Then Johns. Long ball. Finding Lockyer. Came off the head of Kennedy. Battered down by another Australian. Still play on. Gasnier now comes around on the 20-metre line. Just inside it eventually when tackled by David Kidwell and Roy Asatasi. Badiris to Johns, and Johns, he might have picked up an obstruction there unintentionally, but the Kiwis have got the ball. Ohio. And now Kalis, the Parramatta captain, beyond the 20-metre line. Andrew, sideline.
Yeah, all bad news, Ray, for the Kangaroos at the moment, confirming Tamana Tahu will not be back tonight because of that hamstring injury. Now, earlier tonight, you talk about the passion. There's Willie Mason and some of the other boys that played in the curtain raiser. They copped a bit of a toweling, the Australian Invitational side against New Zealand A, and Willie Mason suffered an injury to his right shoulder. So it hasn't been a good night for the guys in the green and gold.
Kidwell now. Opens them up. Tramples over the top of them. Gets it away to Webster. He did well, amazingly well. Fadawira back to Webster. He's done better again. Then Jones. And Jones is tackled. 5 out from the line. Hohaya uses the blind side. Webster, push, shove, tries to get it down. And I don't think he did.
Well, it should have been the New Zealand penalty anyway. The Australian defender was never onside. They want the Kiwis want the referee to go to the video referee. But Trent Waterhouse was never onside, and Jake Webster believes he got the football down in a legal situation.
Well, Waterhouse came from behind him. Waterhouse had been beaten up on the 40-metre mark, was still retreating. He was a mile offside. Good hit. Good hit.
Clinton Torpey, the tackler.
He's going to be penalised for this. He's going to be penalised for this. The English referees is going to call him out. This will be for lifting, which is rubbish.
Attention to the tackling technique, okay, mate? It's a penalty.
That's a penalty for tackling technique. But it's a great hit. Look at this. Whooshka. Bang. Didn't drive him.
So Australia finding the line. Taking the tap with Steve Price tackled. 38 metres away from the New Zealand line. That is Riles. And he loses the ball. The Kiwis come back and it's Kidwell, who's tackled by Lockyer. Webb a dummy half. The ball with Asatasi. Looking to turn it around the corner for Webb trailing through. Tackled by Johns and Kennedy. Hohaya gets it away. Anderson took a part in it. And Fadawira is tackled 30 metres out from the Australian line. Hohaya again. Bad pass. Shocking pass. Kalis under the drive of Fitzgibbon and Badiris. 20 metres away from the line. As it goes through the hands of Jones, and a flying Frank Pritchard linked into the back line there with Torpey eventually tackled by Gasnier. And he loses the ball.
Yeah, that is Clinton Torpey. There is a simple mistake in him after some great work with the football. A really good job done tonight by the starting front rowers for New Zealand, Ruben Wiki and Paul Rauhihi. What a wonderful situation to be able to bring Roy Asatasi, who had a great season for the Bulldogs, and a former Test captain in Nathan Kalis off the bench. David Solomona is also now into the action. Kidwell coming to the sideline. Frank Pritchard thought he was coming off, and he's heading back to the scrum.
Scrum 20 metres out from the Australian line. And Matt King is held there by Nigel Wanganar, Clinton Torpey and the men in the headgear as they drive Australia back. Here's David Solomona. David with Wakefield. 22 metres out from the Australian line. Fitzgibbon crosses the 30-metre line. A straight run. A tackle by Asatasi and Solomona. Steve Price turns his back on them. Got the ball back to Riles. Then it's scooped off the ground for Kennedy. Right on the 40-metre line. Badiris. Riles going down the left side. Just a couple of metres on to the Kiwi side of halfway. 18-0 is the score in favour of New Zealand. 3 converted tries. Webb got one of them.
But despite the lopsided scoreline, this is really warming up into a good test match. The best thing for New Zealand was to get away to a good start and get their self-belief up. And Australia, well, they play their best football, I believe, when they're under pressure and have got to find something. We're in that position now.
Here's Kalis. Andrew sideline.
Yeah, this is typical New Zealand Rugby League in Tri-Nations. If you go back to last year's series, in fact, in 3 of their 4 games last year, they led at half-time and didn't win any of them. The only match they trailed at half-time was their best result, and they had the draw against Australia in Game 1 last year.
Lance Hohaya. up to the halfway line, eventually meeting Badiras and Kennedy. And then Jones from almost the halfway line. The kick setting up for Minicello. Now it's with Brent Tate. And Tate fends away from Jones. Swerves around Pritchard. Runs away from Asatasi, who won't give up. He's got rid of him now with a fend. Webb can't quite get him. He's going to score, Tate. This has been a marvellous try. That was a wonderful try by Brent Tate. Playing in the same side as his brother-in-law. He won't be far away from the team that are going to welcome him back after the try.
Harvey World Travel and Inside Vacations invite you to attend their information night at Cardiff Panthers, covering all the fantastic tours in Insight's 2006 European coach touring brochures. Western and Eastern Europe, the UK, Scandinavia, the Mediterranean, all the sites, all by luxury coach. Plus exclusive offers on the night, discounts and early bird airfare deals. Don't miss it. 7 p.m. Tuesday, October 25 at Cardiff Panthers. RSVP, Harvey World Travel, Toronto and Qatar now.
Test match live from the Olympic Stadium, Telstra in Sydney, and it's 18-4 with the kick to come. New Zealand leading after Brent Tate's try.
Well, it was brilliant stuff. Did it all himself. He went back and supported his fullback who'd caught the ball, weaved a passage through the middle of the field. He palms off Brent, Asatasi, get that in here. He palms off Brent Webb, says get that in here. The big strong left hand went 1, 2, 3. He's gone 80 metres up the right hand touchline, the left hand centre. That could be the turning point in the test match. That could be the spark that lights the Australian comeback. Tremendous stuff. Great individual try.
They needed something special and Tate has provided it. Probably under a little bit of speculation as to whether he would make the side as Craig Fitzgibbon shaves the upright with an unsuccessful conversion attempt. Matt Cooper was in line to be in that green and gold jersey, but Brent Tate hasn't been a comfortable career for him. He's had a lot of injury problems. You can see the brace up around the neck, which he will play with for the rest of his career. 3 fends in a run of 90 metres. And the comeback has begun.
Gee, that was brilliant stuff, wasn't it? I mean, I question his inclusion in this side. I think there have been better performed centres this year, but at his best, he's a marvellous player. Saw him score a try like that against the Roosters at the start of the season. I think it was last year. He's had injury problems since then, and New Zealand have compounded this by kicking the ball dead in goal on the full. Here they come, Rabbits, the Aussies.
Yeah, that was Frank Pritchard who kicked off there, and still going up when he went over the dead ball line almost as Andrew Johns goes for the quick restart, picks up 20.
So Australia to take the tap just outside the 30-metre line, and Jason Riles 22 metres out now from the Kiwis line. Gower playing a dummy half, Sivanasiva the ball carrier, Hohaya dragging around the legs, Asatasi and Kalis up the top. Gower goes out from dummy half, tries to attract them into him. They go in and Gower can't get it away. Taken down by another replacement out there for the Kiwis. Here's Johns turning it back on the inside for Kennedy. 2 metres out from the posts. Gower to Johns, and Johns will score. Carries Fayumu across the line. So Australia have rattled a couple of tries onto the board very, very quickly. 18-8, 34 minutes gone.
Well, there's a time to pass and there's a time to run. And this fella knows when to run. Look at this. Gets it, sees some threadbare defence in front of him. Footwork, strong fend, able to push past some tired forwards. Andrew Johns, when he gets close to the line, senses opportunity better than any halfback in the game, and he backs his physical size and strength to take forwards on.
Way too much space there between the New Zealand defenders. I think they would much rather be playing tight on each other's shoulder and force the Australians to go around them. Just get your outside defenders to come up quickly and try and stop that cut-out pass. 18-10 now, and all of a sudden, not far out from half-time, New Zealand is starting to look nervously at the scoreboard after plain sailing at 18-0.
Johns scoring the second Australian try. It came right on the back of Brent Tate's wonderful try. Johns and Lockyer playing their first test match. Shoulder by shoulder. As Pritchard gives it a more delicate kick off the tee that time, keeping in mind that he really created the Australian opportunity by kicking it over the dead ball line on the full, and Australia hurt them in the worst possible way. Riles has it taken off him by Vangana, and it's a penalty. It's a steal with 2 men in the tackle. Referee Steve Ganson.
It's an interesting one because I think Riles was trying to pass there, and it's virtually been handed to Vangana.
He was losing that, Jason Riles. It came out of his hand. It's an awful rule anyway. Fancy the defenders being penalised for that poor ball security.
You just watch the Australians make them pay here. They're behind on the scoreboard, but they're on a roll at the moment.
4.5 minutes to the break. Riles, 35 metres out from the line, held there by Nigel Vangana together with Paul Fatawira. Sivanasiva launches himself at them, tidied up by Nathan Kalis. Here's Fitzgibbon now running at Hohaya and Fayumu. And Australia set themselves up for another chance of tries as Gower goes off to the right. Links up with Lockyer, quick hands, catch pass, Minicello, Gaznia. And it looks to me as though the corner post may have gone first here. He's going to have a look at it.
He doesn't look that confident, does he, Mark Gaznia? Matt King is more confident, but he wasn't carrying the football. Again, they just look so vulnerable in defence close to their line. Badavai has got Gaznia. Well, that looks okay from there. The other angle is going to be the telling one as to where the rest of Mark Gaznia's body is. I'm not sure when his backside actually takes the line in relation to the ball being put down. Rolling towards it now. It's on there, and from that view, I think it's a try. But again, the problem for the potential try scorer is the other angle as to where the bottom half of his body is. And I don't know if we're going to get a definitive shot of that.
I get the impression his body's left the ground, Peter, before it's reached the sideline and the corner post. Just as time goes by, I'm starting to think they might give this. Gaznia, I think his interest in it is starting to grow, and it's been given. Australia have got their third try. Well, they've come back at the Kiwis as quickly as the Kiwis rattled on their tries. 18-14.
The Australians won't want half-time. Look at the defence, all over the place. Someone in, someone out. Outside player races up. Another player has to turn around. Very poor communication and execution in defence, but take nothing away from the Australians who they have a sniff. They are storming home. Lovely interplay there. Minicello coming up, getting involved. And Mark Gaznia, he's a rare player with the ability to get the football over the line where most people would miss out.
No, this resurgence by Australia, I might be wrong, but it seems to have coincided with the entry into the game of Craig Gower. He's really peppered them with some angles and some beautiful passing, drawing defence before offloading. Fitzgibbon, he's offline. 18-14 is the score. Andrew Voss sideline.
Oh, fair dinkum, Ray. You'd reckon we're at the cricket. We're looking at so many replays to decide decisions at the moment. I mean, where has benefit of the doubt been all this season? We probably saw it applied twice. I couldn't say conclusively on any of those angles that the video referee found an angle that said he definitely scored, so he had to have applied benefit of the doubt, as I say, probably for only the third time this year. I feel a bit sorry for the Kiwis there.
4-point margin then, as the Kiwis kick it very high from the restart, and Sivanasiva carries it back, comes back with gusto. 12 metres out from his own line. That pass to Riles from dummy half looked to me to be forward. Riles, Gower, Johns, Kennedy, and here's Minicello hitting the ball at high speed, getting it over halfway. Waterhouse is there. Tate wants the ball. Tate's away. Webb's got him. Passes back. Picked up by the Australians. Close to the line. I think it's Gower. It is Gower. Basketball over the top. And Brent Tate gets his second try. Well, what a comeback by Australia. 18 points all. A minute to go to the break.
And Australia will fancy their chances that they'll lead at half-time. I agree. I think the pass from Craig Gower was forward, but Minicello doing what he does best, bouncing out of tackles onto Trent Waterhouse. A great ball from Waterhouse under difficult circumstances to Brent Tate. And then Craig Gower backing up. Almost gets there himself. Now, Andrew Johns, how many defenders does he attract here? 3. Brent Tate has travelled 90 metres to score 1 try. He's travelled 9 inches to get that one.
Johns with the ability to get the ball to Tate. And we've got one of the Kiwis, Lance Hohaya, down in back play. And the indication was for the stretcher. That's Dr. Peter Malouf from the Cronulla Club with him in the blue shirt.
And the fact that he's moving his body quite freely up top, you can tell that it's quite a serious leg injury here. We'll have a look at Lance Hohaya in the chase in the lead up to that try as to what has happened to him. He's just on the right-hand shoulder of Anthony Minicello. Bunganar dives, and it's actually his own teammate who catches his leg underneath him in Bunganar, and Hohaya goes straight to ground. You'll see him come in from the left in a moment. There he is. It's amazing how you can get hurt in this game. It's never a good sight. We hate seeing this. Players forced to leave the field, especially when they can't do so under their own steam. That's Craig Fitzgibbon just going through a little bit of a stretchy motion before he looks to convert to try and put the green and golds in front. Quite incredible.
We'll take a break while Lance Hohaya is put onto the Medicab. We'll be back with Nine's coverage of the Test match in just a moment. So it's given to attempt conversion of the try, the second of the match scored by Brent Tate, and that will see us go to half-time. The score either at 2018 Australia, which is quite incredible when you remember New Zealand led 18-0 after 18 minutes. And there's a very good chance they might be down 20 points to 18 at half-time.
And what a shame here for Lance Hohaya. He's found a spot.
Welcome back to the live coverage just in front of half-time. And a little hiccup in things here for the Kiwis with their number 9, Lance Hohaya, doing some serious damage to a leg. And he's got, as you can see, one leg taped or strapped to the other to immobilise the injured leg. And another shot of it.
We'll get him off the field and then start.
Andrew sideline.
Incredible, isn't it? 4 tries in 9 minutes, 2 of them to Brent Tate. But this match has turned on the tackle by Trent Waterhouse from an offside position on Jake Webster. We probably should have had the Australians down to 12 men and the Kiwis getting a penalty right on the Australian goal line. And then since that moment, we've had 4 tries straight to the Kangaroos.
Fitzgibbon then from the sideline. And it's coming around ever so gently, but not enough. I think that's appropriate at half-time. The scoreboard will read 18 points all. Fitzgibbon has only kicked 1 goal. Stacey Jones, 3 from 3. 4 tries, 1 goal to Australia. 3 tries, 3 goals to New Zealand. Coming up in our coverage of the Test match in Holden half-time, Andrew Johns is on player cam. We've been following him during the first half. Plus, you'll be given your chance to win a trip for 2 to the Tri-Nations final in Great Britain in the latter part of November. Well, our clock suggests that the match is only a matter of a couple of seconds away from half-time. In fact, 15 seconds of the first half remaining. 15 metres out from their own line. 4 tries in 9 minutes. A scintillating comeback by the Australians. It might not be over yet either. King has got the bounce. King gets the ball away. Gesnia does the same. O'Donnell, Lockyer to Gower. Gower up the middle. Back to Minatello. Gets it away and Lockyer knocks on. Well, would that have been a football try or what? Would that have been something else? 18 points all. Little kick over the top, and then it was absolute razzle-dazzle, hot potato. It is 18 all in the Test match at half-time.
The last part was spectacular movement. Andrew Johns with a solo try and also a try to Mark Gasnier.
The Aussies killed it in the...
McLean, Blocker McLean through to Turner. Oh, Big Ben, supporters there. Mulcahy through the gap. He puts the foot down. Mulcahy for the corner. Try. How good is this Holden team?
Holden half-time, Test Rugby League live on Channel 9. What a sensational first half. 7 tries scored. New Zealand led 18 points to 0. And at half-time, the Kangaroos 4 tries in the 9 minutes coming up to half-time to get us to 18 all at half-time. Phil Gould, sensational first half. And our player cam tonight on the number 7 for the Kangaroos, Andrew Johns. What about his game?
I want you to look at 3 things about Andrew Johns here. First thing, I want you to look at the amount of pressure the Kiwis put him under, particularly early in the game. They're at him the whole time. Whether he's trying to kick or pass, you'll see Kiwis players trying to knock him over late. The second thing is he never reacts to them. He never gets up swinging or saying, why did you do that, mate? And the third thing is he doesn't stop playing football. He keeps getting his game on. Now, this is the mark of a champion. He's not worried. He expects the attention he's getting from the opposition team, but he just keeps playing. He gets up, he bounces up, he watches where the ball goes, he starts to organise the next play. This fella cannot be put off his game when he's totally focused, and he's totally focused tonight.
Only been in camp with the Australians for the past week. He was actually given a leave pass for the first week in training, which surprised me a little, so only 1 week of combination for Andrew Johns with his team.
And you'll see in this footage, the only time he reacts at all to something that happens is when he makes a mistake, when Brent Webb runs around him to score the try from the scrum base. The rest of it, he just goes about doing his job. He plays that play, he watches the ball. Now, this is where he'll miss. Watch his reaction here. He'll miss Brent Webb. Embarrassed. I don't like doing that. Up he gets. Get on with the game. I'm ready to go again. Here's the tape. 1, 2, 3 big fends from Brent Tate. He scores the try that turned this game. Andrew Johns sensed the moment. Couple of penalties against New Zealand. All of a sudden he got on them in the attack and was able to post points. The first one he did himself. He had to push his way through. The next one from dummy half. Give me the ball. There's one over the top to Brent Tate. Levelled up at half-time. The Australians, you can't give them a chance.
Sensational try scored in the first half. I mentioned about midway through that first half, the Kiwis had led at half-time in 3 of the 4 games in the Tri-Nations last year. Got beat by start matches so well, and they did it tonight as well.
They did. Their tactics were great. They're controlling the ball. They're working up the middle part of the field. Little offloads like that were really troubling the Australian forwards. And then they were able to get it out to the likes of Torpy in the back line, who's really bounced back to some fine form. This was a strong try here. He had plenty to do.
But best I've seen him playing 2 years.
Terrific stuff. You know, he backed up for the first try. This is a nice little set piece off the scrum. Australia with Trent Waterhouse in the centres and Andrew Johns defending in the back line. They won't want to show that too much to the English when they get over to England. They'll be lapping that sort of stuff up. But this is the turning point. Brent Tate from deep inside. One palm off there to Stacey Jones. Steps around Frank Pritchard. Here comes Roy Azatazi. He's a front rower. Get out of me way. I don't want you either. Here comes Brent Webb. Get out of me way. I don't want you either. There he goes. He races around. 18 points to 4. But you got the sense that would break New Zealand's spirit. Andrew Johns plays off the back of it. Gets the next one. The kick out on the full from the kick-off. Back they come again. Gasnier will go over in the corner. I'm not sure about this one. Brent Tate gets the last one. Great comeback from Australia.
As I say, had my doubts on that third Australian try and the last try right on half-time to Brent Tate. Now a sensational competition to tell you about. Your chance to win a trip to the Tri-Nations final at the end of next month at Ellen Road in Leeds. It's thanks to our good mates at Powerade. It's great to have them on board. It is the Powerade It Ain't Over Moments competition. Have a look at these 4 great moments in Australian Rugby League Test history.
Almost no time left in the match. Stewart. Here it comes now to Linda. We're well into injury time. 40 seconds in fact. As it comes away to Stewart again. Stewart throws the dummy. Now Ricky Stewart's on his own. He's up to the halfway. He's waiting for Eddie Housen. He's got support. Eddie Housen with him. They can go to the digger. How does he get tries? He gets goals. Oh, what a try. What a try. What a right from Stewart. And what a try. Madiga.
Andrew and Matthew are both in there. Jason Smith got a pass back. The Australians, down the ground they go. Touched by New Zealand. He didn't call it.
Terry Hill.
Doesn't matter whether he calls it or not. Terry Hill is over. And Australia score wide out.
Seems to be bad news right across the park at the moment. Kamali, he is through. 20 metres out. Back it comes for Bittler. And able to pass. Matthew Johns. Then for Saylor. Saylor will score. Saylor has scored for the Australians. And they are back in front.
Oh, that's a poor pass to Lockyer. But Lockyer turns a mess into an attack and he keeps it going. They're still going. It's Kimali. He's got Kev with him. Kimali waits. Lockyer, they're going to win it. Ricketson. Oh, Great Britain will lose the series 3-0.
They are our 4 Powerade It Ain't Over moments. We want you to select which one you think is the best. SMS A, B, C or D to that number on screen, 1995 3119, and follow the prompts. Or you can, of course, phone through and follow the prompts, 1902 553 119. Now, that competition will close on November 13, and you must have a passport to enter, because if you're off to the Tri-Nations final on 2 weeks' notice, you will need a passport. Sensational test match in progress here tonight. It is 18-all between the Kiwis and the Kangaroos. We'll take a break, come back with the second half. Test football live on Channel 9.
Oh, what a break from the Holden team.
Remember the kids with all the know-how who...
And welcome back to Telstra Stadium. Australians keeping warm, waiting for the officials to send them back out for what should be a bumper second half. 18 points all. New Zealand absolutely on fire in the first 20 minutes of the game. Try after try came. They led 18-0, and then Australia rounded them up just on half-time.
And what a test for that man, Brian McLennan. First time in charge of the national team. The side has gone from leading 18 points to 0 on good course to record a rare victory. Now he's got to lift the side. He's got to get them back into this game, because at the moment the scoreline might be locked up, but Australia are well on top. The senior players having a word there. Ruben Wiki as captain. Now the Aussie captain, Darren Lockyer, leading his troops back out. They didn't want half-time. They were happy to stay out there.
So Australia were beset with its problems first off, with Tamala Tahu ruled out of the game after about, I suppose, 15, 20 minutes of time gone. He's gone for the night with a hamstring injury. And then very much near half-time, New Zealand have come down with their own crippling injury, that to Lance Hohaya, a serious leg injury for the young number 9. Been a long time between drinks, really, for the Kiwis. Nigel Vangana goes out at the head of affairs there. The captain is Ruben Wiki, who had a tremendous start to the game. Since 1970, the Kiwis have won only 3 tests in Australia. I can assure you, after 20 minutes of this game, they look like making that record have to be changed. But as you know by now, they've been rounded up by the Australians by some brilliant football. And Kalis, that's the trophy for which they're playing. 9 of the 17 in the black and white remain from the last encounter, which was played earlier this year in April at Newcastle, won by Australia. The Bill Kelly Memorial Trophy, I'm led to believe that is that trophy that we had a shot of. Not such a bad crowd.
Ready, mate.
Being realistic, not such a bad crowd. Now Frank Pritchard kicks off for the second half. Lockyer immediately asking Sivanasiva to go back with the football on the first tackle of the first set of the second half. If you just joined us, 18 points all after New Zealand had led 18-0 after 18 minutes of the game. A shock went through this stadium. I'm sure it was an equal shock that went through the team. Kennedy to play the ball now, 35 away from his own line. Gower, I've got no doubts, has made an impression, and I'm not saying that with any disrespect to Danny Badiris or anybody else. But to my way of thinking, Gower has come on at exactly the right time. He's got the Kiwis probably running a little bit low on petrol, and he's put some new devices together for Australia. John's kicking the ball down the ground, and it is brought back by Stewart. Playing on the right side for New Zealand, play just inside the 20-metre line. This is Vadavai, Webster again, as it comes on from Fayumu to Kalis, and Kalis is tackled. Torpy, scorer of 2 tries, almost back-to-back. He got tries at the 8th. Well, he did score the back-to-back, but just a couple of minutes between them as New Zealand get this ball down 38 metres out from the Australian line. Ball played by Roy Asatasi. Fayumu was a dummy half, and now it's away to Jones. That pass looked to be forward to Vangana. He puts a kick on it. It's bounced up for Minicello now. Minicello drifting across to the left of the ground, where absolutely no support was there for him.
I think the Kiwis need to test the referee early in this half and slow the game down as much as possible. The speed of the Australians will always be their biggest asset against international opposition. They've got to slow the game down to bring themselves back into this one, as Darren Lockyer has taken well.
Gasnier to the 40-metre line. Vadavai in the 5-jumper. Kennedy, a struggling run just over halfway. Tidied up there by David Kidwell and Nathan Kalis. Now for Johns, drops it onto the right foot, stabs it down into the corner. Covered up by the fullback Webb, who returns it towards Johns and Gasnier. Jones now dummy half. Vadavai, 25 out from the line. Gower involved in the tackle with Riles. Solomona this time. Just outside the 30-metre line, the Australians not allowing him to get rid of the football. An upright tackle, eventually finishing up on his back. Riles, the chief tackler. Fayumu coming into the side at an appropriate time, really. It coincided with the injury to Hohaya. Solomona for Kalis now, and Kalis is taken down by O'Donnell and Fitzgibbon. It's as though the Kiwis have slowed this game, as Peter was alluding to, slowed it down to a pace that suits them. That might be the way to go.
Well, not when they've got the football, Ray. That was 3 of the slowest play the balls you've ever seen. You don't want that when you've got the football. You've got to do what Australia did just then and get 3 and 4 into the tackle, peel off slowly, get the tackle player onto his back.
Oh!
Not like
Waterhouse. Picked up by Torpy and Pritchard. Well, Pritchard's from Penrith. Waterhouse on the receiving end of it. And Torpy has been involved in an earlier tackle that brought the displeasure of the referee.
Give us a minute. Okay. Come here, mate.
That's Pritchard.
Which player did we have? Come here, mate. We've got the judge coming in to make his report. Getting the right players.
6 and 12. 6 and 12 he's called it. This tackle went on forever, and Trent Waterhouse was fighting.
It's been placed in report to be looked. Okay, penalty Australia.
Vangana and Pritchard on report. This tackle went on forever, and Waterhouse was fighting to get rid of the ball. Eventually they said, well, if you won't go down, we'll have to put you down. They lifted him to do it.
Riles Driven back, got the ball down to Gower. Gower to Sivanasiva. And he'll play the ball 10 metres away from the line. First test of the second half for the Kiwis, and Kennedy puts it down. Well, that was an easy let-off for them.
We're going to have a scrum. Just worried here about the body language on the Kiwis. They haven't started this second half the way they started the first half. This is a tackle that went on forever. You saw Waterhouse with the ball. Well, Vangana's in awful trouble there. That's a lift, which is totally different to a driving one-on-one tackle that we saw Torpy do in the first half. He picked Waterhouse up there by the groin and just threw him on his head.
This is Fadawira. My apologies there to Clinton Torpy. Nigel Vangana was the man in the tackle with Frank Pritchard. With Solomona breaking away from the tackle. It was almost in slow motion. Now it's from Asatasi. Kalas, the ball to ground, may have come off an Australian. 32 metres out from the line, played by Nigel Vangana. Here's Fayumu. Good dummy half run, taking it down towards halfway.
That dummy half stuff is good from New Zealand. That's where they're bending Australia back. They've got to persevere with that.
Asatasi now to the 40-metre line. We'll go down to Andrew for a half-time report on the end of this tackle count. Now from Jones, it's gone on to Kidwell. And Kidwell is up to the 30-metre line, ridden down by Kennedy. And 5 tackles gone for Jones to go to the air. Minicello, he's come down with the football cleanly. Tackle on the 20-metre line. Andrew sideline.
Just repeating the news on Tamana Tahu, definitely not back tonight, having done his hamstring. There he is on the bench. First touch of the ball tonight. No complacency wanted from Wayne Bennett. Build on how we finished the second half. Build on how we finished the first half. Big start to this half. Could really break the spirit of the Kiwis. And from the New Zealand side of things, real bad news on Lance O'Hire. Off to hospital. Suspected broken leg there for Lance. And New Zealand, I will tell you, their camp, they were livid with some of the refereeing decisions in that first 40 minutes. And in fact, some of them vented their disgust directly into the faces of the referees and touch judges as they came back for the second half.
Johns. Oh, he's made a meal of it. Vadavai has put the ball down, and Australia have scored, I fancy. Matt King. King, I think, has got a 4-pointer for Australia.
Yeah, Matt King coming back in his first test match. Very confident. I gave young Vadavai a big rap early in the game. I still think he's got a huge future, but it's these simple mistakes that are going to make the difference as to how far he goes. There's no pressure, no real need to leave the ground here. I think you'll find that he jumps. If he'd have just got his body in a better position, he could have stayed on the ground, turned to catch the football away from Matt King, kept his body between the chaser and the football coming down, and it would have been a much easier catch. Matt King gets the football, slides across with momentum. That will be a try.
Well, Australia's hard enough to contain without gifting them a try. That's just a gift. Kiwis had no pressure on them there. They've just come up with the fumble, and Matt King's going to make them pay. You don't need to give Australia those sort of opportunities. Not if you're serious about winning.
Johns with that kick. Vadavai leaving the ground, then leaving the ball for Matt King to increase the Australian score out to 22 against 18.
Andrew Johns has taken over the kicking here. Craig Fitzgibbon, a little bit Australia in the first half, so the number 7 for Australia says, give me a shot. He has to kick a few goals.
5 tries, plays 3. As Johns hits it, and it's just off to the left of the uprights. But Johns hasn't improved the situation. 22-18, here's the try again. The misfortune for the young New Zealand winger, youngest on ground, 19. Matt King, he scored a try at Origin level when they put him up to a new class of rugby league, and he's come up with a try at test match level now. Pritchard with a beefy kick-off again. And Sivanasiva rumbles it back towards Kalis and Asatasi. Just inside the 20-metre line as Gower scoops it off the ground for Fitzgibbon to be tackled by Kalis and Fayumu. The bench players, Price and Ryan, stretching. 35 away from the Australian line then as Johns goes to the eastern side and calls the play, but Kennedy comes up with a run straight off the dummy half. And Kennedy will play the ball right on halfway. Now Gow. Gow goes out, searching, holding the ball out in front of him. This time he decided he'd go himself, and he's tackled and put away. Vangana been injured in the tackle. As a matter of fact, the kick is nicely weighted, but it's just rolled over that touch in goal. It's back out to the 20-metre line for the restart for the Kiwis. 22-18. Ruben Wiki about to come back into the game, the captain, who was inspirational, as I said, in the opening part of the game, Wiki. It's a word that really rests nicely on his shoulders at any time, really. Kidwell just outside his own 30-metre line. Fayumu, Kalis, Fitzgibbon went up quickly, went up awkwardly, missed the tackle. Vangana, I said to you, he injured himself in a tackle earlier, and it's in the eye. This is Torpy, who, in scoring a couple of tries for the Kiwis in that sensational opening, looked like he might have regained the form of 2003 when he was ranked as #1 centre in the world. Australia making that tackle, 3 of them on Ruben Wiki. Fayumu getting it on to Jones. Jones drops it on the ground, grab a kick through, kick it again. Now the chase is on. No, the ball is set up beautifully for Anthony Minicello, and Minicello runs over towards Webster. Webster trips over. It comes down to Tate. Tate gets it back to Waterhouse. Waterhouse away from the 20 and is held in an upright tackle, which now finishes on the ground just inside the 30-metre line. Australia's end of the park. King loses the ball. He's had a few errors and a couple of good things on his portfolio tonight, Matt King.
Ben Kennedy just put a ball down in the first couple of minutes of this second half. Matt King's done it there, and not one Kiwi has shown desperation to get on the ball. They're only 4 points behind on the scoreline. I know a few decisions have gone their way. I know they led 18-0, and Australia are all over the top of them at the moment. But there's nowhere the zing and the zest that was there early in the game. It's like they're waiting for the inevitable. Someone needs to spark them here.
Red 5/8 on that occasion from the scrum, and here is Fadawira. 31 metres out from the Australian line, tackled by Minicello. It's Webber dummy half this time, and taking it up is Roy Asatasi. 25 out from the line, and Stephen Price with 2 of his teammates go in, Luke O'Donnell and Craig Fitzgibbon. Now they use the short side, and Torpy runs into the defence, takes the tackle, surrenders in the tackle, 15 away from the Australian line. O'Donnell, the chief tackler. Fayumu is 14, 7 Jones, off he goes, out to Webb, Webb gets it on, then Kidwell gets it out to Vangana, out towards the centres that time, if there's such a thing in rugby league, but he was certainly on the extreme right of the ground. Now short ball to Kalis off the hands of Jones. They're 5 or 7, maybe 7 metres out from the line. 5th tackle, Jones, the kick, right foot, across the ground, jumpers on, up goes the big fella, Vadavai, comes down to Lockyer, he passes and it's come off the hand of Torpy. I feel certain it's come off the hand of Torpy, who played at the ball.
Well, there'll be a couple of things to look at here. Number one, who knocks the ball back into the field to play from the kick? Does it come off on an Australian? If it does, it'll be a knock-on against Australia. If it comes off a Kiwi to Lockyer, it'll be play on, and Torpy, well, it's going to come off the New Zealander there, comes off the head of King. Lockyer's got it. He's going to try and put Minicello away. Torpy plays at it. This will be a 20-metre tap. 20-metre tap. No need to look at it. Put the sign up. No try. 20-metre tap.
Well, there really wasn't any jubilation in the Kiwi camp when Benton Torpy dived on the football. I think they know what decision is about to be put up by the video referee. But if you'd have said to the side, look, fellas, tonight, there it is, with half an hour to go, if you're within 4 points of the opposition, how are you going to be feeling? Well, they'd be saying, well, let us at them. A rare chance to beat Australia. Let's get them. I think it's Stacey Jones who's got to lift this side. I know he's not the captain, but he's in the key position Might not be able to do physically what he could do years ago, but he's got to at least talk a good game for his teammates now. Get it in his hands, guide them around, tell them where he wants them, and let them do the job.
Australia really inviting the Kiwis to get involved, making mistake after mistake. This time the Kiwis have capitalised. Kidwell with good hands. Now it's come away through Jones and gone to Solomona. And Lockyer and Gasnier combined to make the tackle with some help there from O'Donnell. 30 metres out from the Australian line. Vadavai. 20 out. 15 in from touch. Feumu looking for a call. Jones will give him the call to go right. And then Jones drifting across, picking up Webb. Webb running into Andrew Ryan. Got the ball away. Second phase away for Jones. Then on to Fatavura. And he's taken down by a former teammate in Trent Waterhouse on the left side Australian defence. Jones for Kalis now. Kalis shapes to pass to Webb. Takes the tackle. Ball comes out the back. Loose on the ground. Referee said play on. The Kiwis attack. Rahihi's pass goes to ground. Picked up by Webb. Give it back to Feumu. Feumu to Solomona. Solomona with the ball. 6 more tackles, says the referee. But the Kiwis did not take advantage of it. And it's Matt King who's tackled.
Well, I'm sure Solomona didn't know. I'm sure Solomona didn't know that it was 6 again. It was played at by an Australian in defence. Solomona went for the all or nothing. Wasn't necessary. They had 6 more up their sleeve. Look at this. Oh, I was probably stripped and being a bit harsh on him there. The ball security with 6 to go was the key. They're just coasting a little bit here, Australia. They've put down 3 very soft balls. They've got to the front too easy. They need something to snap them out of it.
Played by Waterhouse now.
And Danny Badiris going back out there now as Andrew Ryan. Grass 22 out from his own line. Craig Gow leaving the field.
Steve Price.
Danny will spark him up. He'll get the halfback moving. He'll get the 5'8 moving.
Fitzgibbon. Tackled by Ruben Wiki and David Kidwell. Now Andrew Johns finds an opening. Finds a slipping Kiwi. And then the ball is put down. He and Lockyer. They had all the aces. And the 2 greatest players in the world between them coming up with a mistake. Now it's with Webster.
It was a nice ball by Badiris from dummy half. It got the halfback running. Exactly what I just said. He'll get up, Andrew Johns, and say, come on, let's get this on the road. He threw it wide, allowed Johns to use his right foot step on tired forwards.
This is Webster. Coming off the right side, off the right wing. Taking play towards the centre of the ground for Jones now. Then for Webb. Webb inside the 30-metre line. Torpy joins in. Looking for Vandermeer to go infield, but he doesn't respond. And he's in a touch. Desperate he was, Torpy, for the youngster to angle back in.
And Brent Webb has come straight across to the touch judge and said, you're kidding. He's firm in his belief that Vadavai never went into touch. I think it's the knee down there that's just touched the line.
So again, a scrum inside the Australian 20-metre line. King. Certainly not short on for size, are they? These wingers in the Australian side, or at least Matt King is giant of a wing 3-quarter. Gasnier, of course, stands over a lot of ground out in the centres. And Trent Waterhouse, of course, is deputised out there for the major part of the game. So the play from the scrums is to bring one of these big men from out wide and take it away. Now O'Donnell, taken by Wiki and Solomona, played back to Badiris. Johns to the right foot. Down it goes over the fullback's head. Webb running across now, getting a bounce. .15 out from the line. Webster, only player really available. He's with it. Andrew and Ben Hyken down on the sideline.
Yeah, watching on from the sideline, 23 to go. Incredible match, really. Australian only up by 4 points. What's your thoughts from here?
If you ask me, the Kiwis haven't come out with the same level of intensity in the second half. If they can get back to what was working for them in the first half, quick play the ball, some second phase, I think they can really test the Aussies at the moment. The Aussies keeping the Kiwis in the match with some unduly errors, but the Kiwis right in this.
Kiwis with the ball, play by Wiki. Vangana using Rahihi, the ball coming free in the tackle. He's found there's a high shot in there, so the penalty will go to New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a quizzical look from Stephen Price. It looked like he knocked the football out, Steve Price. That's not a penalty.
Point of contact,
Well, the English referee simply making the point that the point of contact was too high.
It wasn't for the strip. Even if Danny Badiris was tackling, he got in for the high tackle and this test match.
Solomona had the winger in then, didn't pass.
Fayumu now, dummy half. Webb, question mark on that pass to Wiki. Running it back at the angle, back towards the play the ball. He'll play it back to Fayumu, 8 metres out from the line. To the right they go, to Webb and then to Rahihi, the run around for Webb and then to Jones to use a decoy and go out to Kidwell. Kidwell beats one, turns it back on the inside. Vangana is there. They get the ball to Torpy. They've gone over to score.
Nathan Kalis on there, great.
Kiwis are in. It is Nathan Kalis. Kalis has scored for the Kiwis to level up. 22-22.
In my line of work, I'm always looking for the Cats.
Back live to the Test match. Test football on 9. And coming to you tonight from Telstra Stadium, the Olympic Stadium in Sydney.
And New Zealand now take advantage of a good call their way with the Steve Price penalty. Nice interplay out here. David Kidwell does very well. Vangana also to keep the football alive. And Torpy under Kalis. Good, tough player, Nathan Kalis. I talked about Stacey Jones talking a good game for New Zealand, but Brent Webb is a man who can get up there and do something a bit special with the football. The more he can get in their first, second, third receiver, the bigger chance they are in the final quarter of this match. But a conversion now to again put New Zealand in front if Stacey Jones is successful.
Jones looking to keep his record clean. 4 from 4. 4 converted tries. 24-22. 61 minutes gone and the Kiwis are in front of the Kangaroos.
Well, this will now test their belief. If they really believe coming into this game they can win it, to be 2 points in front with 18 minutes left on the clock, they're in perfect position. They're a funny side, aren't they? They fade in and out of the game. They start good, they go quiet. They go through a quiet period, then they look okay. They keep the ball alive. Looks like there's 100 of them. Go! How will they finish it off?
Solomona. Reaching up and back to rake in a nasty pass. Well, David, former Parramatta, former Sydney Roosters, now with the Wakefield Club, to the 30-metre line, played by Fadawira. A run offered by former Cowboy Rahihi, back to Vangana. 40-metre line, Price in 10, Fitzgibbon in 12, making the tackle jointly. Fayumu to Jones, goes back to Kidwell. Kidwell throws the dummy to Kalis, goes out to Torpy, and Torpy's taken down by Waterhouse, driving a lot of their play to the right of the ground, where Waterhouse very much is out of position out there. That was brought on by the injury to Tahu in the early part of the game. Minicello with a nice catch and a return to the 10-metre line.
And importantly, a good kick chase there from New Zealand. They were hurt by Brent Tate in the first half with the try that got the Australia back into it. That kick chase is a very important part of their game.
And New Zealand have actually changed their centres around. We've now got Clinton Torpy playing right centre. He played the first half in the left centre, but now Fadawira has come across to this side of the field to play inside Manu Vatuvei.
Price playing the ball. Tate coming away to almost submit in the tackle of Solomona and Rahihi. Johns weren't giving him very much time to set himself for the kicks early on. They put a lot of pressure on him. His time is increasing now, though. Torpy, Andrew Ryan in 16, involved in that tackle. Now Jones And this is Vadavai, 41 away from his own line.
He's a monster, isn't he? Have a look at the size of this one.
Well, that's Paul Rahihi, the front row forward, taking it ahead. And he's probably not as big as Vadavai, the winger.
Yeah, let's play on. 6 a game.
6 more for the Kiwis. Kalis played it back. Kidwell runs it over halfway. That ball has come off an Australian hand. I don't know that they played at the ball, though. And running it back is Louis Anderson. He will be made to play the ball. 7 metres on the Australian side of halfway. Webb now for Wiki. Wiki running at Kennedy, and Kennedy is unable to bring him down as it goes from Vangana's hands. It's gone loose, and retrieving is Fayumu. And Badiris puts him away together with King. 10 metres on the Australian side of halfway. The Kiwis are leading 24-22. 30-metre line, Australia's end of the ground, and Sivanasiva is about to come back. Fayumu, Wiki. It was during his opening spell that the Kiwis rattled on all those points. It might be more than coincidental that it's happening again. There's little resurgence. Minicello coming up with the ball 10 metres out from his own line. Australia has spent plenty of time down this end of the park. More recently, Waterhouse on his own 20-metre line. Rahihi and Kidwell making the tackle. Steve Price to the 30-metre line.
Yeah, Johns has got to get his 2 centres involved here. He wants taking Gasnier to get a little bit of ball.
Badiris for Fitzgibbon. And Anderson is there with Kalis. Torpy coming in for a little piece of the action as well. Just inside the 40-metre line, Fitzgibbon plays it back to Badiris. Now it's with Johns. And Johns goes to Kennedy, and Kennedy runs at Jones. 9 changes made by Wayne Bennett. 8 changes made by Brian McLennan. Here is Johns with a kick that's going to fine touch. Just on the 30-metre line.
Yeah, it's a kick that Andrew Johns didn't want to find touch. Put it deliberately behind the upcoming defence. And unfortunately for that man and the Australian team, it just kicked right. New Zealand love this kind of stuff. Slow restart, get the football in their hand, wind this clock down. The more football that's out of play will suit their purpose, and the slower the game, the better for them.
Stacey Jones. Vandermeer tearing his way up the middle of the park, and a quick play the ball. Sees Vangana. Vangana inside, and away he goes. Vangana scores for the Kiwis. He puts it down just in the nick of time. But they've gone out with the lead now, 28-22. And a certain kick coming up for Stacey Jones.
It's dark in this.
Back live at the Olympic Stadium. 28-22. The Kiwis leading with the kick to come.
And they don't want to play a slow game when they've got the football. And that came off the back of a great burst by Manu Vadavai and a quick play the ball. Got out of dummy half, no markers in front of the man playing it. Danny Badiris still retreating in defence, unable to make the grasp on Nigel Vangana. And Stacey Jones, who's kicked beautifully all night. Not that many difficult ones, but he's been perfect with the boot, and that should be maintained with this one from right in front.
Jones takes them out to an 8-point buffer. The Kiwis, they haven't won a test match in Sydney since 1959. They are dancing in the bleachers at the moment. I don't know that 8's enough, but it's better than nothing. Andrew, sideline.
And haven't won a match in Australia since 1991. That was down in Melbourne. What about Manu Vadavai? The message has gone out from the bench. Get more involved. Keep going. You know, his nickname at the Warriors this year from the former coach, now Tony Kemp, is the Beast. If I've got a brick wall to knock over, I'll get Manu Vadavai over to my house to do it.
Rahihi.
Yeah, this bloke's been good too, with a bit of football. Again, a quick play the ball. Fayumu.
Here's the support. Webb is there. Webb's gone inside the Australian 40. Tackled by Ryan. Penalty goes Kiwis against Andrew Ryan for a second dip in the tackle.
And a big call here. A big call here. I don't see the difference difference between an 8-point lead and a 10-point lead. Obvious answer being 2 points. But whether or not they need it, he's actually going to take the kick for goal.
Well, it does slow the game down, Gus, I guess, and he should put it dead.
Well, it's dead if he kicks it. This is the try. Watch how quickly Vunganar swoops on this quick play of the ball, and watch the tiredness in the Australian defence. Blokes going back with their back turned. Anthony Minicello slipping. Danny Badiris not coming up with the grab. He came out of the scrum. He was the hooker in the front row and the first forward out of the scrum. Tremendous stuff. Next bust, exactly the same thing. Quick out of dummy half. Tired forwards. Badiris again. Kennedy there. Got tired forwards around the middle of the ruck. Blokes who haven't played football for 6 or 7 weeks. Blokes that are all in their 30s. And at the moment, the dummy half running is killing them.
Well, this is a nice 2 points if Stacey Jones can put this over. But more importantly, or as importantly, if he does miss, it's got to go dead. Can't give Australia possession when all of this is in their favour. Even if they go back to the restart, get the football after kicking 2 points, possession is everything now.
Jones, he's got it. Jones gets them out to 10. I agree with Phil though. It's hard to imagine the difference. The difference is 2, I know, but in rugby league, would they have been better to go the other way? I don't know. Now they're out to 32-22.
I would have thought they needed another try to win. But as my dad used to say, the ball's dead when the flags go in the air.
Webb, he's been great tonight, Brent Webb. He can be an absolutely brilliant player.
Well, he's very much like Darren Lockyer was when Lockyer was at fullback. He can come up and he can play a first receiver or second receiver when you want him. And a bit of movement on the bench now with Gower and O'Donnell about to come into the action. And this is a good set from the Kiwis. Third tackle on their own 30. Should be kicking in reasonable position, especially from this charge from Rauhihi.
Louis Anderson at dummy half. The run is made by David Kidwell. Top surface here, obviously a little bit shifty. A lot of players losing their footing. Webb to the left foot. They don't always have to go to Jones, do they? Webb standing up in his back line, takes some heat away from Jones, gives them an alternative.
We've seen some miracle escapes from this Australian side. None more than in the Tri-Series last year and the Kangaroo Tour the year before over in England. They can conjure up a couple of quick ones.
Johns turning it in to Badiris, the middle of the ground. Luke O'Donnell, the 11, spinning in the defence, in the tackle, brought down 30 out, penalty Australia. Hand on the ball, penalty against the Kiwis, against their captain, Ruben Wiki.
This is where it started in the first half. Penalties in the play the ball brought Australia into good field position. The Kiwis now, you just get the sense they're going to try and hang on and defend this 10 points. The 4-point scoring has gone out the window. They're going to try and tackle their way to victory.
Ryan plays it on the 40-metre line. 32-22, New Zealand leading Australia. 5 tries, plays 5 tries. And 9 minutes of the game to go. Lockyer, dummy to Kennedy, gave it out to Gasnier. Gasnier stepping down towards the 20, but he's rounded up and put away. Tackled by Louis Anderson. Gower is back on. Lockyer passes. Johns is with it. Back into the middle for Minicello. Minicello flung down to the ground. Now it's come away to Gower on the left. Gower turns it to Ryan. Ryan back to the middle for Minicello. Then it comes away from Badiris. Goes to O'Donnell. O'Donnell inches from the line. Last tackle. Penalty. Hand on the ball again.
They're walking, New Zealand. They're absolutely walking. They're all looking at the clock and the scoreboard. The pressure is really mounting on them.
Loose ball, and they win the race for it.
Bonus.
Kalis.
That was great stuff from Louis Anderson. Desperation, and got the football back towards his team.
Torpy. Desperation that was missing some 10-15 minutes ago. Body language
wasn't that of a team that wanted to win. But suddenly, somehow, from somewhere, they've got it back, the desire to win.
That's Torpy now on the last. The kicker has got to find space here, not Dominicello on the full.
Jones. Kick straight down to Brent Tate. Tate thinking about what he did to them in the first half, but not this time. 40 out from the Australian line. Wiki was the tackler with Kalis. Now Minicello. 7 minutes to go in the game. Halfway line. Australia trailing by 10 points. Lockyer inside. Gaznia. He sprints through. They won't catch Gaznia. Mark Gaznia scores. It'll require a pretty quick kick and goal. 32-26 the score.
He's the man. He's the one they've got to keep getting the ball to. He and Brent Tate. I said this 15 minutes ago. If they can get the ball to these fellas out there, there is no one in the New Zealand side who can match their speed and their footwork. He's electric. He had no room to move in. An inside ball, almost standing still, and just goes shimmy, shimmy, whoosh. See you later. Here come the Australians. They're walking, New Zealand. They've been gallant, but they're absolutely walking.
There's some poor defence there. Stacey Jones, Paul Fatawira, Andrew Johns didn't hit his first one sweetly. He normally learns very quickly.
Johns converting. So 32 plays 28 with 5 minutes to go.
I don't know about that kick at goal. You just had the feeling Australia had more points in them, and you know that New Zealand are going to get tired at the back end. Johns pilots this through, runs back to his teammates and say, game on, boys. 5 to go. Look at him, looking over the clock at 5. We've got 3 sets of 6. Yeah, I think he's feeling okay.
New Zealand with Pritchard kicking off. Down to Lockyer, and Sivanasiva running the ball back. Wiki and Kalis combining to put him down well inside the 20-metre line. Buderis is the dummy half. Kennedy up the middle. Anderson one tackler, Pritchard the other. Sloppy play the ball, he lost the ball. That's exactly the mistake the Kiwis were looking for. Kennedy has come up and dropped the football. So, under 5 minutes to go, and a 4-point lead to the Kiwis, and they're on their first tackle on a new set. Australia will only be getting another few opportunities. Asatasi plays at 15 away from the line. Jones, Webb, Wiki, taken down by Lockyer. O'Donnell, the two of them combining to stop the attack. Webb for Jones. Jones out for Asatasi. Floats it long and wide. Torpy will go for the corner. Torpy has scored. Torpy has scored. The Kiwis, they realise that if in fact it is a try, that is the ball game. First time in Sydney since 1959.
Well, we're going upstairs to have a look at the grounding. New Zealanders are in no doubt that Clinton Torpy has scored, and that confirms that he has. I think that the boot does take the corner post. We'll have another look at it, but I think it's a touch after the ball has been planted. He's got every right to reach out there now. The boot getting close to the post. That is a try.
It's actually Trent Waterhouse. Close. Trent Waterhouse, the back rower defending in the centres. They move Torpy over there exactly for this play. That sock is green and gold. No black and white on that boot.
Yeah, it's the boot that above.
This will be a try.
Torpy scores his third try. The smile on the face of Clinton Torpy is the smile on the shaky Isles, I'm sure. How sweet it is. They've beaten Australia. You'd almost bet your life for the first time in 50 Since 1959.
Yeah. New furniture.
Jones to convert the third try scored by that fellow, Clinton Torpey.
To win the test match, definitely.
46 years since on Sydney soil has a Kiwi international side beaten Australia. Jones, yes! Keeps a perfect record together. He's a mighty marvel. Wonderful player, champion New Zealand player, heading for a season with the French side La Catalan.
That's it, and he's a good buy for them. He's been the most influential New Zealand player for the last decade. Just his presence is an inspiration to his teammates. He hasn't been outstanding tonight, but he has an influence. And has he ever landed a more important kick in his long career than that one?
This is Asatasi. 25 away from his line, Andrew Voss sideline.
Yeah, and they're waiting for the coach to come down to the sideline here. This Brian McLennan, he is a fair dinkum miracle worker. The Kiwis, their last two matches in Sydney, they have been massacred. What this has done tonight ensures a full house next Friday night at Ericsson. You're going to see the action on Channel 9, 7:30 next Friday night. An Australian side under big pressure.
Kalis taken down by Kennedy and Lockyer right on the halfway line. Middle of the Gillette sign. As this kick goes out on the full, Australia will get another opportunity, but the timepiece is showing 1 3/4 to go.
I said it before the game, Rabbits, this Brian McLennan, his dad played for New Zealand, did a bit of coaching in England for St Helens. And when I met him earlier in the year, I've never seen anyone so passionate and so emotional just talking about the opportunity to coach New Zealand. It rubbed off on his players tonight. He's coached this expertly. His team got tired at different times, but they've rallied and they've pulled off a remarkable win.
Sivanasiva, 45 away from the Kiwis line. 1 minute of the game to go. A total of 12 tries scored in the game. 6 all the tries, but Jones with 7 from 7. Australia have managed only 2 goals. That's the difference, 38-28.
There's nearly another try there for Paul Fatawira with an intercept. Lost a game since 1988. You know how that feels. I was actually in that beaten side against Great Britain. It's something that does look good on the resume as Andrew Johns. Darren Lockyer. They'll be better next game. You would think so too will New Zealand with what this has done for their team. A lot of these Warrior players, of course, they had a bye in the 26th round of the domestic competition. Not a lot of football for them either over the last 6 or 7 weeks. Well, no football.
Yeah. Badiris. Lockyer. Passing after shaping the kick. What a house it was. But Kalis is back there. He bats the ball over the dead ball line. And the Kiwis have beaten the Kangaroos. 38-28. First time in 46 years in Sydney. An amazing performance. I must admit, I thought they were out on their feet early in the second half.
Especially when you consider no Sonny Bill Williams, no Benji Marshall. This game coincides with the Super League Grand Final in England, so probably 6 or 7 players who would have come into contention for the New Zealand squad unavailable tonight as well.
Let's go down to the field. Here's Tim Gilbert.
Yes, Ray, we're with Ruben Wiki, the captain of New Zealand, 46 years. How does it feel?
It's been a long time coming, mate, but you know, we were happy with the win. It's the start of our campaign, so we've got to go to New Zealand and do it again.
Let's keep walking over towards your side. Talk us through about the belief in this football team.
Well, you know, every Kiwi team's real close. You know, when we get together, it's like a family reunion. So we're a tight-knit unit, and you know, Kiwis are special people. We show our emotions, and it showed tonight.
Ruben, did you think they were going to come back and get you in those final few minutes?
Well, you know, the Aussies are ranked up there in the number one in the world for a reason. They keep coming. They've got so many class players, and we just got to keep the faith and believe in each other, and we did.
Thanks, Ruben. Back to Ray Warren.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, he'd be a very proud man, Ruben Wiki. When he lines up next Friday, he will equal Gary Freeman for the most number of caps worn by a New Zealander.
Yeah, I love Ruben Wiki as a player. The New Zealanders talk about mana, talk about respect. Nobody more respected in the New Zealand camp than Ruben Wiki.
Now let's go down again to the field. Here's Ben Aiken.
Yeah, I'm down here with Andrew Johns. Joey, disappointing tonight?
Oh, say the least, mate. I think we'll... I don't know how to describe that performance, but...
outside of this, where do the Aussies go from here?
Oh, just we got to get back and, maybe we were just a bit too relaxed and probably didn't show them enough respect, so I expect a hard week this week.
Yeah, mate, what was it like to be outside Darren Lockyer again?
Mate, it's a funny sort of game. We didn't get too much opportunity combined, so hopefully next game we combine a bit better, but overall, disappointed in the way I played and it wasn't a great effort.
Thanks, mate. Good luck.
Well, the New Zealanders have been called together by their captain, Ruben Wiki, and it, as you can see, is a great moment in New Zealand Rugby League. A victory here at the Telstra Stadium, a victory on New South Wales soil. Stacey Jones is down there with Tim Gilbert. Take it away, Tim.
Stacey, 2 years out of representative football, what was that like?
That was pretty special, yeah. Especially to come over here. Never won over here for a long time. It was great, right from the start of the week. It's been a fantastic camp. Just been great to play with the boys, and mate, it was pretty good.
You've played in that black jersey a lot of times. Is there something a little different about this outfit?
Yeah, it was a little bit different, under Bluey, a guy who's just so passionate about footy. And these boys, all week it's just been talking about what we're going to do. Just quietly going about our business and amongst our own camp, and it was great, yeah.
Congratulations on the win. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.
Yeah, Stacey Jones there with Timmy Gilbert. Plenty to come on the other side of the break on Nine's Test Football. More interviews with the players and breaking news from the dressing rooms. And, of course, we will relive the big plays of tonight. And weren't there some big plays? 12 tries here at the Olympic Stadium tonight. The Kiwis have beaten the Kangaroos 38-28.
We're handing too many of these celebrity cases off to the DA with less than compelling evidence.
Just happens to drop dead when no one's around. Where's your movie star husband?
You have no idea the heat we're taking on this case.
She interrogates.
No, I would never.
They confess. The show that broke viewing records across the U.S.
Hard as a secret is to uncover. It's even harder to keep.
Kira Sedgwick is the closer. Premiering 9:30 Sunday on NBN.
With Work Choices, your right to join a union and have the union help you negotiate a workplace agreement will be protected by law. To find out the facts, call 1-800-025-239 for the Work Choices booklet.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Go Harvey Norman now for sensational bedroom deals. The Barrington 4-piece ensemble, crafted from solid timber with dovetail drawer joints and metal runners. Great quality, available now for immediate delivery at the incredible price, just $9.99. You save $1,400. Just sensational. The Denver's another 4-piece suite, beautifully styled in solid timber with the same attention to detail and quality. You save heaps. Truly amazing value at just $12.99 for the 4-piece bedroom suite. Incredible. With immediate delivery and interest-free terms, it can be yours today. Now at Harvey Norman, Bennett Green Superstore, 9 Ways Broadmeadow and Maitland.
Well, we've got some retirement money in super, but how do we use it, Dazza?
Do this. Buy a racehorse. Put it in a race, and with the money left over, bet on it. You get the prize money and the winnings. Ka-ching.
Don't ask Dazza. Ask a real financial planner. Only they can help you with all your financial planning needs. Contact the FPA for an advice pack or a planner near you.
You can't afford to miss Domain's big spring tent event this weekend. We're going all out with massive under-canvas savings. Furniture, bedding, electrical, computers, homewares and more. Get your front row seat to budget-beating savings this weekend only at the big spring tent event. Domain Katara, be there.
The perfect balance of fitness is now in Newcastle. Nautilus accredited instructors, personal trainers, a complete workout
to deep relaxation. Secure your Balance membership today for every level of fitness, from the young to the young at heart. Secure your membership now. Balance Health Club.
It's heating up, and the hottest fashion destination this summer is Rebel Sport. Check out the latest in sport and fashion footwear, plus all the stylish clothing for fitness or fun in the sun. All the great brands are right here. Nike, Puma, Adidas and Everlast. While it's hot, why not look it? Get some great fashion at fantastic prices. Fun in the sun this summer with Rebel Sport, Erina, Tuggerah, Maitland and Charlestown.
If it's time to do some work around the yard, get along to Ozkygrouch. Ozkygrouch at Terralba have massive stocks of road base, drainage and aggregate cobble, various grades of mulch, soil, crushed brick and more. Buy direct from the manufacturer by the trailer or by the truckload. Ozkygrouch has the answer. Not only can you buy at Ozkygrouch, you can also tip concrete and soil. Save 50% on your tip fees. Whilst you save dollars, you save the environment. Ozkygrouch, open 6 days on Racecourse Road, Terralba.
Tonight, Mel Gibson is a lethal weapon. And Lucy Liu, she's hell on heels. It's Payback tonight.
Welcome to the official presentation of the Bill Kelly Memorial Trophy for 2005. And ladies and gentlemen, what a start to the Gillette Rugby League Tri-Nation Series. A win to New Zealand, their first win in Sydney since 1959, running out winners 38-28 tonight here at Telstra Stadium. A fantastic win in the end, 6 tries apiece. And Stacey Jones, the champion halfback, 7 goals from 7 attempts. Well, on stage, ladies and gentlemen, the official party tonight, the chairman of the Australian Rugby League, Colin Love, is with us, a director of the New Zealand Rugby League, Selwyn Bennett, and also with us, Matthew Pilkington, the national sales manager for Gillette. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome on stage the captain of the Kiwis, triumphant tonight for the first time since 1959 in Sydney. Would you please welcome their captain, Ruben Wiki.
Just excuse my voice, kind of lusted in the haka, but you know, to the Kiwi boys, you know, we knew the Aussies would put on a great show because they're ranked up there as number ones, and you know, we believe in each other, and you know, we made some history today, and it's good to get the good to get the win. To the Aussies, always keep coming and always make us panic, but you know, we stuck to our guns, and it's very hard to hold G's, and because he's always keep coming, but you know, that's. You know, we play this again next Friday. No doubt he's come back harder. We just got to win the game. But to all the Kiwi supporters and our brothers over in New Zealand, It's been a long time since we've won here, and it's good to get the win here in Sydney. And you know, anything's possible if you believe. Thank you.
Stay with us, Ruben, because Matthew Pilkington from Gillette will now present the 2005 Bill Kelly Memorial Trophy to New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen, and Ruben Wiki. The 2005 Bill Kelly Memorial Trophy to the captain, Ruben Wiki. Well, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, to our officials on stage, Colin Love from the ARL, Selwyn Bennett from the New Zealand Rugby League, and also Matthew Pilkington, the General Manager, Australia for Gillette. As Ruben...
Extraordinary night for New Zealand Rugby League. We stay with the live pictures from down on the ground, 38-28. The Kiwis over the Kangaroos, and yes, they will be in battle again next Friday night from Ericsson Stadium, and we will have the game for you from 7:30 next Friday night. I'm joined for the post-match show by Peter Sterling and Phil Gould. Just an amazing night for the New Zealanders. 18-0 they led, 18-0 at half-time. Honestly, in your own head, you're thinking Australia's going to walk away with this one in the second half.
Well, it's been a year of upsets, hasn't it? That's continued, and the glorious uncertainty of our sport is a wonderful thing. The celebration continuing down there with the haka.
Well, let's cross down to the haka, again led by Ruben Wiki. about that. No, I'm not surprised. We might even get an encore performance of that one as well.
Well, the good thing, I think, for the New Zealanders tonight is the fact that they'll take enormous confidence out of this for next Friday night, but also the way that Ruben Wicke said, look, this is the start of our campaign. There's a long way to go. We can't just sit back after one victory. Now, this has got to be something that they can maintain. Now, they came off a tri-series last year where they did not win a game. So already they are off to a flying start. And as I say, they're going to be a better football team next Friday night, but you could bet your life so are the Australian 17.
And that Tri-Nations we saw last year, Phil, and I mentioned in the first half, 3 of the 4 games, the Kiwis led at half-time and didn't win any of those 3. And the only game where they didn't lead at half-time was the one they got the draw against Australia in game 1.
A lot of that comes down to fitness. A lot of it came down to self-belief. And I asked the question with 20 minutes to go tonight, when they got to a 2-point lead in the second half, that would test whether or not they honestly got here on Australian soil believing they could win this game, or whether or not they were just trying to put up a good performance. They honestly believed they could win it. They went right to the 80th minute, and they played against an Australian side, bar for the last 15 minutes of the first half was unbelievably disappointing. And I'm not going to sugarcoat the bitter pill. Australia lost this in the selection room. They lost this in the older players that they selected. They selected players that hadn't played much football and were out of form. They didn't go with the younger players that appeared in our finals and grand finals. And they were also lost it in the coaching room, because this fella from New Zealand had a plan tonight. We just relied on the talent of our individuals.
Well, we will take a break from Telstra Stadium. Some very happy scenes on ground. We'll talk more about the Australian performance. But repeating tonight, New Zealand's defeated Australia 38-28. Stay with us. More Test Match Rugby League after this break on Channel 9.
The Aussies killed it in the one-dayers, but this is a whole new ball game. The 6-day super test with more thrills, more spills in a world 11 desperate to save face.
That's out, that's a big wicket.
But Johnny Walker Super Series 6-day super test continues tomorrow on NBN.
With work choices, wages and specified existing award conditions like penalty rates and long service leave will be protected by law. To find out the facts, call the Work Choices hotline for the Work Choices booklet.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Remember the kids with all the know-how, who always had the answers and loved solving puzzles? Do you ever wonder where they are now? Well, they work for us, and we train them to give knowledgeable, unbiased advice to help you make the right choice. So for a wide range of communications, entertainment, computers and electronics at low prices, no one has more know-how than Dick Smith Electronics.
Know how to make it easy.
Ready for adventure? Get into a pair of R.M. Williams Legends jeans and you and a friend could be off on a legendary adventure across Australia valued at almost $15,000, taking 15 grand's worth of R.M. Williams gear with you. R.M. Williams, wholly Australian owned.
Job best, see NHS. NHS will help you get the right product at the right price. NHS have got the whole range of plasterboard, fibre cement and timber products for your building and renovation projects, all in the one place. So for plasterboard and timber, do the job best with NHS.
We'll help you do the job best, NHS.
50% off, 70% off, 90% off!
Don't be fooled by phony sales on overinflated prices. At Sleep City, we blow the opposition away with real savings. Direct from our factory to you, the Alexi, $249. The Posture Practic Spinal Care, $659. And 24 months interest-free. You won't be able to buy this value anywhere else. If you don't believe us, check us out.
We make the bets and you make the savings. Sleep City, here we come.
Next, Mel Gibson is a lethal weapon. And Lucy Liu, she's hell on heels. It's Payback next.
Welcome back to Channel 9's coverage of the Tri-Series and, of course, New Zealand winners tonight. Brian McLennan, the coach of the Kiwis. A fairy tale. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels really good. Just it's good for all the players and all the staff. They've all got on real good this week. We've got good harmony, good sense of brotherhood, and I'm really happy for everyone. They got what they deserve.
What about yourself? A new coach?
Oh, yeah, but I've been coaching for a while, you know. I might have come out of the domestic league, but I love people, and the players can see through that, and we're just having fun.
Well, congratulations. I'll let you enjoy it with the team. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Back to Andrew Voss.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. He's a miracle worker. Brian McLennan is a fair dinkum miracle worker as the Kiwis lap it up tonight. Now, Nathan Kalis comes up with a test try tonight. And Nathan Kalis will only take part, in fact, in the first two tests of this series. That's another little hurdle for this team to overcome. His partner Erin's due to have a baby, so he'll be remaining back in Australia. Benji Marshall there, one of the sideline troops working here tonight with our partners from New Zealand. Just high emotion night, and they won the curtain raiser easily still.
Well, it's important that they can keep as many of these players together over the next month and a half as they can. Last year, remember, 16 all. They lost the likes of Jay Nullivau, Tony Pulatua, Matt Utai, and I think that really affected their performance. They lost a lot of players through the course of that. He's a character, the coach. If I was the coach, I'd stand down tonight. 1 from 1, 100% against Australia. That'll do me.
Yeah, a wonderful performance. We saw Frankie Pritchard there. Stacey Jones, another Gus. Now, it was thought that he would only play the first two matches as well, and that would be it. But the coach told me before kick-off, well, look, if we win one of the first two games, Stacey's the sort of bloke who'll say, no, I'll play on. We're a chance of making the final, and he will be over in the UK when they're later playing on the tour. Let's hope he's there as part of the campaign.
Yeah, just remember, too, that this New Zealand team is nowhere near at full strength, and it may even get worse as this series goes on. That's how embarrassing Australia's performance is tonight. You know, there's no Benji Marshall, there's no Sonny Bill Williams, there's no Dean Halliday, there's no Frank Pulatua, there's no Tony Pulatua. I mean, there are a lot of players that could have played in this game tonight that would have strengthened them, which shows how poor Australia's performance was. Other than the 15 minutes before half-time, where New Zealand invited them into it with a few string of penalties and some bad luck, Australia weren't in the contest. New Zealand were too good for it.
Well, boys, let's go back and look at a few of the second half tries. I reckon Ruben Wickie's ringing home at the moment. The Warriors Player of the Year. He's ringing home. He's got some kids back home that are very proud Kiwis. They love their dad. They love what he does in rugby league. The second half started as a disaster for the Kiwis in terms of tries. The mistake from Vadavai.
Yeah, it was good to see he didn't go into his shell, and he played a role after that mistake. And look, Clinton Torpey tonight, you talk about enigmatic players. He can do anything, Clinton Torpey, but there's always some mistakes in him. We didn't see that so much tonight. Got 3 tries through the final pass for that one. If they can get the likes of Torpey, Nigel Vunganar to play to the best of their ability, they're a wonderful football team with wonderful talent.
Dangerous tackle by Nigel Vunganar. I hate to say it, I don't think he's going to be playing next week in the test, but that'll be decided later. Gasnier gave Australia a chance, and even then you're thinking last 5 minutes, well, Australia's going to come up with another try.
No doubt about it. New Zealand had stopped to a walk, and they'd done a lot of work. They were down. Lance O'Hara had broken his leg just before half-time. There was an emotional drain on the fact that they were in front and Australia were pressing their own line. Torpey again out on their side. There's Waterhouse at left centre. Well, they've run 3 or 4 line breaks and 3 or 4 tries. That was, I think, a poor replacement decision by Wayne Bennett at the time when Tamana Tahu went to the bench to play Waterhouse at left centre, left Australia exposed too many times.
Well, there's also an injury toll out of last night's match. Let's cross back right now to Tim Gilbert to find out the very latest. Tim?
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Some great scenes of celebration here with all the New Zealand team. But what about the bad news? There's one little bit of bad news, and of course that's Lance O'Hara, broken leg. His tri-series is over. In the opposition's dressing room, well, it's Tamana Tahu. He left the game early with a hamstring problem. He'll have an MRI. And as you mentioned earlier, Nigel Vunganar, a nervous wait after that lifting tackle.
Yeah, Tamana Tahu, a problem as far as the Australians are concerned. We reported during the game as we look at live pictures from the Aussie room right now. Willie Mason hurt his shoulder. He's there in the background. Hurt his right shoulder. The report on Willie Mason, he would be out for 1 to 2 weeks. I think that places his entire tour in jeopardy in light of the way Nathan Hindmarsh was treated. They said if you couldn't play for a couple of weeks, you're out of the tour. Well, Willie Mason might be going on this tour either. And the New Zealand dressing room, they're back in the sheds now. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they turn on another haka. This is a proud night for them. In 2000, Peter, we watched the New Zealand side cop a 52-0 toweling here at Telstra Stadium. 2003 at Aussie Stadium, they were beaten 48-6.
Well, look, they have a history of starting games strongly, which they did tonight, and not going on with it. If it was four-quarter football, they'd almost be unbeatable, the New Zealanders. But it's not. Tonight, they've done it the other way. They've got the lead. They've relinquished it, and they've come from behind again. And, as I say, that does enormous things for your confidence when you've been in that position and got beaten so often. To finally get over that hurdle, psychologically next week, it's going to be a big thing for them.
All right, Gus, quick word next Friday night. We'll be covering the game. We'll have it for you from 7:30 next Friday night from Ericsson Stadium. What's your thoughts, Australia-wise? I mean, what changes are going to be made?
I doubt they'll make changes. They'll stick with what they've done. I didn't think they selected the right squad right at the start of this series. I thought there were a lot of players that were more deserving. I thought they picked older players that were out of form. Having said that, these players will improve with the run. Their reputation will be dented. Their pride will be dented. New Zealand will be under strength yet again. They will bounce back next Friday night. They'll probably win the Tri-Series, and that will justify the coach and the selectors who do not deserve justification for the selection of this squad and for the way we perform tonight. They'll get out of it because Australia always do, but it's not right.
I'll give you the last word, Peter. New Zealand have played great in Auckland over the last few years. That's where they really have nailed their game. It could happen again next Friday night. It's hard to think of. Australia could be 0-2.
Yeah, look, a poor performance from Australia tonight. They know that, but take nothing away. I enjoyed the fact that New Zealand won this test match. I think it's good for international rugby league. I'm not being disloyal there, but I think it's given a big boost to this Tri-Series, which is very, very important to the international game of rugby league.
Yeah, that's the biggest news out of tonight. Test Rugby League alive and kicking tonight. This is just the first match in 7. We're going to show you over the next few weeks on Channel 9. 38-28. New Zealand has beaten Australia tonight in Game 1 of the Tri-Nations. We'll see you next Friday night. The action coming to you live from Ericsson Stadium. Bye for now.